up? This is Tim Howard here with another edition after a long time of CityHoops TV. Here with my man Devon Dyson. We're going to chit chat about some DC hoops. We're going to talk about the Mystics. Basketball in DC isn't basketball in DC without some Mystics basketball going on. Keep you updated on what they got going on this season. Definitely chit chat about the Wizards. Talk about their draft pick, Kelly Oubre, their signings. Trying to see what's going on to keep DC rising. And we're going to talk about the countdown to KD, who's the free agent season 2015. KD will be a free agent in 2016, and it's every Wizards fan's hopes that KD will be balling for the Wizards next year. First off, the Mystics, right now, they are second in the Eastern Conference right now. 6-4 record as of today, which is June 9th. Going to the All-Star break, they looking real good. Led by Emma Messerman, a 6'4" center, having 15 points per game, 7 rebounds, 1.7 blocks, and shooting over 60% from the field.
I let you count my money, baby. You 100, so that mean you meet my standards, baby. I got a lot of hoes, more than I can handle, baby. And I can't even lie, shout at you my kind of lady. So what you doing later? Let you count my money, baby. You 100, so that mean you meet my standards, baby. I got a lot of hoes, more than I can handle, baby. And I can't even lie, shout at you my kind of lady. And that 100, baby, just keep it 100, baby. Just keep it 100, baby.
DC native Karen Lawson playing for the Mystics in her second season. Her first full season came last year in a trade. It's helping the team out. She's averaging 4.6 assists per game, which is tops in the WNBA as a whole. Looking beyond the All-Star break, what do you think the Mystics can do to continue their push right now, being one of the top teams in the East, and not only moving to the playoffs, but look at winning their first WNBA championship?
Well, I think you got to ride Emma. She's on a record pace. Well, a record pace for her in her third season. She's averaging 15-7. She's pretty much shooting at a 60% clip. It's hard not to just keep feeding her inside. You got players around her who are, putting in points and playing with a lot of energy. So I think if they continue to play that way, continue to feed her the ball, she continue to play at this pace, it should be a cakewalk to the playoffs, and then you have to really put in some work.
They also have Ivy Latta. I think it's her third year with the Mystics. She's second in the team, scoring at 13 points per game. A WNBA All-Star as well. Between Emma, the leadership, the veteran leadership at Kerr, she's won the WNBA championship. She has an Olympic gold medal. Played at Tennessee under Pat Summitt. All that come together as they build a momentum. Looking at the West, where you have the Minnesota Lynx, you have what's the other team?
Los Angeles Sparks.
Los Angeles Sparks, Kansas Sparks, and the Sparks. Simone Augustus and Maya Moore. They're the defending champions. Do you think they can compete with any of those top teams in the West?
Well, it really boils down to a lot like the NBA, where you have the veteran teams that's been there, done that against the up and coming teams that just got that spark and that fire. I always would take that veteran team in the end, just because of that experience is a key. But with the way the Mystics are playing, they should be able to challenge anybody.
But we've seen in the NBA, the Golden State Warriors win the championship, and they didn't have anybody that's been in the NBA Finals, let alone any type of deep push to the playoffs. So
the most experienced player was Iguodala. Yeah, so
he probably never got beyond the second round of the playoffs. He probably made the playoffs about three or four times. Probably not even that much with Philly before he came to.
Goes to show, if you hit the playoffs running, you can take it over to a championship. So it would really make a lot of sense for them to just keep doing what they're doing, stay hungry, and when they get into that playoffs with those older, more mature teams, just keep pushing.
Hopefully we'll see the Mystics make a second consecutive playoff appearance, and hopefully bring home another championship, or the first championship. before the deadline. Moving on to the men's side of the pro game, the Washington Wizards. It's free agent season. We already did the draft. And the Washington Wizards made a surprise move by trading up and getting, when I traded up, they traded with Miami. Miami chose for them and took Kelly Oubre out of Kansas, 6'7", 200-pound freshman guard hopefully add some depth to it. Did you like that pick, or were you surprised that they made that move?
I was surprised mainly because I thought Portis was the fit, and going into the draft, you had so much talk about getting rid of the knuckleheads, getting rid of the people that didn't like the work. To draft somebody who actually missed games at Kansas because of work ethic and determination issues, I didn't understand the pick. You know, I do understand trying to fill that role. It's a role that you got right now, just Otto Porter. Paul Pierce has gone through free agency. They let Glenn Rice go. There's a lot of desire to fill that position, but I thought there was a lot of other players they could have went with opposed to Oubre. I wish him the best. I hope he gets it, but I think with a project, especially that early in the draft, it's tough. It's like a John Vesley, Chris Singleton type pick, a player that has to get better to contribute to the team. Now defensively, he can come in day one and help, but we need a lot more than just defense, especially with the team we have. You know, with John Wall penetrating, you want to be able to kick to Brad or kick to Paul. Paul's no longer here, so it's gonna be Otto Porter, and I don't see Oubre stepping up to be a scorer in that type of game.
Yeah, but if I call, would you run, baby? Need you right by my side, baby. Some motor or the dime, baby. Hold me down, never lie, baby. If I call, would you run, baby? Need you right by my side, baby. Some motor or the dime, baby. Hold me down, never lie, baby, yeah.
I don't give a damn what they say. She can never take my place. I know that I'm a ride or die, baby, can't you see? Can't nobody do it like me.
Looking at the Wizards the past couple of seasons, obviously Bill's been the top outside player. We haven't seen a player be able to come in off the bench for Bill. Bill has had injury issues, and that's what plagued the Wizards. They probably could have a better record if he would have been healthier, but we've seen when Bill goes down, they don't have really anybody to come off the bench or to step up when he goes down to continue going. And I think one of the reasons why they picked Kelly is because his ability to score. I think at Kansas, he was a player who could play. He was a McDonald's All-American, but when you go to Kansas, you're playing with a lot of other McDonald's All-Americans. So you don't get the shine that you want to. And he was a freshman, so he probably thought he was going to go in there and be the man. And him not getting the ball as much as he probably thought he would kind of took away from him his mental ability to play. But I think coming to the pro game and playing with veterans and knowing that he's not going into college as the man, he's coming to the pros to be a part of a playoff team and to learn. I think that'll allow him to really show what he can do as a scorer, coming as a defensive player.
But that also falls back to what they said about his work ethic. If he walks through the door now, feeling that he's already made it, then he's gonna be in trouble. If he goes in there and works his butt off, then he got the skill to do it. Like say, McDonald's All-American, was great in high school, put up big numbers. The only problem is, when you go from high school to college, you go from great to good. You go from good to average in the NBA, and he has to elevate a whole lot to be able to, make his team better.
Now that we're past the draft, we move into the most exciting part of the professional summer. Free agency. That's a time where We make adjustments, we pick up players, make trades, all to get better with the hopes of moving closer to an NBA championship. And we've seen a couple of moves by the Wizards. I know a couple of fans have hoped to do more. What we have done so far is basically just pack the perimeter. We traded a second round pick in 2016 to get Jared Dudley, who's a defender and a decent three-point shooter. He can bring some scoring off the bench. Then we brought in Gary Neal and Allen Anderson, who plays the two guard. So basically we have right now under contract, about 7 perimeter players between the guard and the small forward position. How did those moves helping the Wizards, and what other moves can be done, or could they have made to kind of put them closer to winning the championship?
Well, I know going into this off season, we weren't really going after the big fish in the free agency market, but there's a lot of names that I think we should at least make a shot at. Aldridge being one, Greg Monroe being one, just because with Nene and Gotat, you have pretty much the same player. You pull one off the court, you get a little more spacing, but a guy like Aldridge, if you bring him in, he can step to the wing and be that, that wing, or what they call swing four that Paul Pierce was playing. Now, does he fit us better than KD? No, not at all. But would he be a big piece to add? Yes. On a team that has championship aspirations right now, this is 2 years straight where we're in the second round of the playoffs with Wall, Bill, and Kaz. If you can add a LaMarcus Aldridge this summer, why not? You can't put all your eggs in one basket hoping for KD. Even to Greg Monroe, he's another big who can actually shoot the ball a little bit, and he's a rim protector. A lot of weak side rim protector, but he's a big, he's a skilled big, he's a rim protector. And you look back at that 2010 draft, I think he and DeMarcus Cousins may have been probably the top to come out of that draft. But they're all in for KD next summer. So I think the players I would have looked at Aldridge, Monroe. I like the Neal signing more so than the Dudley signing, because to me Dudley is pretty much what they have in Rasul Butler and Montel Webster. He's a hit or miss. He's here one day and then he's not the next. I do think Neal can actually come in and be a strong backup to Bradley Beal. When I say strong, he has experience, he has a nice jump shot, and his shooting percentage is pretty good. But having him on the team hurts me just because I'm a Deswell fan. I want him to make the team because I still think we need some of that toughness, that hard-nosed defense that he would bring. So bringing Gary Neal in pretty much says Deswell's come out for the summer league, apply for the position, but we already got somebody for the job. But
basically, as we talked about championship aspirations, Gary Neal was part of the 2014 Spurs team. Both the Spurs teams that made it to the finals, losing in 13 and winning in 14. So bringing him in not only adds somebody that can come off the bench and continue the scoring that Bill does, but also brings in another player who has championship experience, because you just lost a player. And Paul Pierce with championship experience.
And like I said, that does go a long way. So I'm happy about that signing more so than the other two. But I still feel like even with Neal coming off the bench as a scorer, you're still going to need something from a backup point guard.
There's also been talk about Nene and his expiring contract. A lot of people didn't approve of his play in the playoffs. Do you see him as making it through the season this year with the Washington Wizards?
I don't think he's going to be a Wizard at the end of the season. I think first opportunity to get to trade him, they will. I'm not as big of a Nene hater as everybody else, because I do remember last year in the Chicago Bulls series where he was pretty much the difference in the win and the loss, because they couldn't handle him inside. With the way the league kind of transformed to that stretch four last season, kind of hurt him because he wouldn't get out far enough to guard the stretch four, and he couldn't beat the stretch four itself. So, it's to a point where they have to decide, do they want to be an inside banging Detroit Pistons type team, or do they want to go the way of the league and go that stretch four? So just knowing how the league is a do as I see league, I got a feeling he's going to be elsewhere. But it got to be able to get something for him.
Do you see they picked up Jared Dudley? Obviously we've seen Otto Porter in the playoffs play a lot of the stretch four. With the pickup of Dudley and the emergence of Porter in conjunction with Martell Webster getting healthy, the drafting of Kelly Oubre, do you see the Wizards, let's say, more so transform into that small ball and having Porter and Dudley play a lot of the four and just Nene and Gortat just strictly playing at the five?
I can see it, and it actually would make sense because them playing that four hurt them more than help them. So you can go with Gortat and Nene at the five, and that would actually be a way to keep Nene in the fold here in Washington. Like I said, I'm not against having him here, but it would actually push John Wall a little more to be what he is. He's a good rebounding guard, so he would have to help on the boards. A lot of the Atlanta series where they just got manhandled for rebounds is because our guards were used to our bigs getting rebounds, so they didn't go in and attack and fight for them. That's a change they would have to make, but it can be made. And like you say, with Oubre, Porter, they're all good rebounders, so it shouldn't be that big of a change. It's just something that they got to commit to early and build on it and teach it.
Talking the whole stretch four aspect, we still need bigs that can be bigs. And right now we have under contract, we have Nene, we have Gortat, DeJuan Blair, and Chris Humphries, which means one of our better big men, Drew Gooden, is a free agent, but also one of our younger up-and-coming big men, Kevin Serafin, is a free agent. And it's been speculation that he may leave because he wants a bigger role. I actually talked to him personally, ran into him down Chinatown and chatted with him, and he said he felt disrespected that he didn't get enough playing time. He said a lot of teammates as well as himself thought that he was good enough to get more playing time, and him deciding to come back to DC is not only a money issue but more of a role issue. If another team gives him a bigger role, then he'll take the bigger role over staying with the team that he would prefer to play with. Do you see him coming back to the Wizards in a larger role, more consistent time off the bench, or do you see the Wizards letting him go elsewhere?
Unfortunately, I think he's going to go elsewhere. I can see him fitting in a Utah, somewhere that runs that slower pace, structured offense, because he's a black hole. The ball goes in and then doesn't come back out. So that is a role he would fit. I wouldn't mind seeing him go to New York because they could use somebody inside. You know, with Amari Stoudemire not being able to do it there, they have a void, on the box, and that's pretty much what he is. He's a low post player, point blank period. That's not going to fit where the Wizards are going, so I don't see him being back. I actually think they should let him go when they let Trevor Booker go and kept Booker. If they would have kept Booker, they'd have had more of a athletic energy guy opposed to a less athletic, stationary post player. So I don't see him coming back, but I do think he has all the game in the world. It's just not going to fit with this team.
Well, look, we chit-chatted about this year's free agency, but the big focus beyond this year, obviously, is the 2016 free agent period, where DC native and arguably the best DC native of all time, at least top 5 in anybody's eyes, Kevin Durant, the Sea Pleasant native, coming back to DC.
We're in Washington, D.C. last night, got a big win in overtime, but all anyone wants to talk about is Kevin Durant leaving Oklahoma City as a free agent in 2016 to go play for the hometown Wizards.
Tell me where you wanna go. Tell me what you wanna do. Baby, just be comfortable. I'll be right here next to you. Look, hey, shout out what it do, what's happening? Peep the way you move, I can tell you make it happen. I see you walking around like your feet don't hurt. Shout it just cold like the heat don't work. She independent, you be ballin' on the budget. She riding in the flies, all the real niggas love it.
The KD to DC push has begun, and it's only going to pick up as the season goes on. There's been speculation because of his injury that he might not get offered a max contract from Utah if he doesn't come back at full strength. With the emergence of Russell Westbrook after KD went down with injury, it's speculation that they may trade KD because they can lean on Russell Westbrook to be the go-to guy. What do you think might happen this season to cause KD to want to leave Oklahoma, and what things can the Wizards do to make it easier for KD to decide to come back home?
Well, the first part of that question is what can they do in OKC to have him want to leave? First thing is they got a new coach, Billy Donovan. If they don't get out to a good start, losing brings pressure. So we'll see how he handles the pressure, how KD handles the pressure, how Westbrook handles the pressure. Me personally, I do believe that Russell Westbrook is such a strong-headed player that him and KD at some point next season will clash because he's coming off career highs in everything: rebounds, scoring, ball control. He's actually their offense by himself. Now he has to go back to sharing the ball with one of the best pure scorers in the league. That's gonna be a tough transition. So for the DC fans that want KD here, you want to hope that they get off to a slow start, and then they're in that rugged West with DeAndre Jordan going back to the Clippers, Golden State coming off a championship, San Antonio stacking it up. It's gonna be hard to get wins out there. So best case scenario, they get off to a slow start, pressure sets in, KD starts to look home. What can the Wizards do to make it easier for him to get here would be the opposite, just win. They win, they show improvement in Wall, Beal, Oubre, Porter, Nene, and Gortat continue to work as a two-headed monster in the inside. That shows him there's a lot of opportunity to come here and a wide open East. KD comes to the Wizards, they're top 3 in the East. You don't know what's going on with Chicago. Cleveland, we see, can be finicky. They getting a reload with Kyrie coming back, LeBron coming back, and Love coming back. Tristan Thompson's a monster out there. But outside of them, who's to say who the Wizards can't beat? So, you would look at that and say, okay, they already winning without me. With me there, we might take it over. Now, does Kevin Durant want to go head-to-head with LeBron 4 times a year? I don't know. That will be a part of his competitiveness. But we see what's going on out on the West Coast. It's jam-packed. It's a race to the top, and they finished right outside the playoffs last year without him. So he may feel like, with me, we can run the table out West. So it really depends on where his head is.
I think the whole Russell Westbrook scenario will play a big role. Obviously, the new coach will play a big role. They were at a place where they were knocking on the door of a championship, and who knows if Billy Donovan will get them over that hump, or will they have to go through kind of an adjustment stage, where they will probably take a step back before Billy Donovan kind of gets accustomed to the NBA game. You don't see too many college coaches come to the NBA and have that much success. Outside of Rick Pitino, I really couldn't tell you.
Very rarely happens.
A college coach that came straight from college to the NBA and had success as far as championships, things of that nature. Most of the ones that had success were NBA players who were NBA assistants for a long time and became NBA coaches. So they say Russell Westbrook, he led the league in scoring last year. The last month of the season,
He was lights out.
he just went crazy. And
He was a star of stars, and it's hard to walk away from that shine and fall back to second place. And that's going to be a real big issue with OKC Thunder. And then with them, you already know that they don't have problems trading away talent. Trade away Jeff Green while he was good. Trade away Harden while he was good. So it's something that they've done before.
Looking at KD, the whole transformation of the franchise started when after Greg Payton and Sean Kemp left. They had some issues when they was in Seattle. When KD came, that was the start of something. When KD obviously was a monster in high school, McDonald's All-American Player of the Year, went to Texas and was the first freshman ever to be Player of the Year. Coming out of when he played at Texas, obviously they knew they had a player that they can lead them to some special things, and I think it'd be hard to kind of allow that to walk away. So I believe if things aren't going well with the transition with the new coach and Billy Donovan, if the Thunder buddies can't get along and share the ball, I see either KD getting traded at some point in time in the season so that Oklahoma City can get something in return and he just doesn't walk away. And eventually, he's already stated that if obviously saying OKC is his first choice, because you always want to say the politically correct thing, because saying anything, anytime you give the impression that you won't stay around, you automatically on the trade block. And then he said outside of that, if he did leave OKC, then obviously Washington be his first choice. Playing with a player like John Wall, who was second in the league in assists, averaging over 10 assists a game, is more conducive to KD's game because obviously he's a scorer and he needs somebody that's going to give him the ball. I mean, he can obviously score whenever he wants to. When you have a guy like John Wall who can dribble, penetrate, and draw the defender, and then find you in easy places to make. If you're already a great scorer, but you have a point guard who can make it that much easier. What they were doing in Oklahoma City as far as wins can easily translate over here to the Washington Wizards. Definitely. And like you said, in the Eastern Conference where it's more wide open as opposed to the West, it's crazy because when you look at the standings last year, the top 12 teams were all from the West. If you would have took the 8 teams from the East and put them in the West, only the top 4 teams in the East would have made the playoffs. The number 1 team, the Atlanta Hawks, probably would have been like 4th in the West, and the 4th team, which was Toronto, would have been 8th. So that just shows you. I mean, it's been like that in the West for a while. They've been the best in the NBA, and they've actually discussed doing away with the Eastern Conference, the Western Conference, and just taking the top 6. The countdown to KD is here. We got about exactly 12 months before he can sign on the dotted line to become a Wizard. What's going to happen between now and next July the 9th, 2016, only time can tell, but join the KD to DC branch. You can just Google KD to DC. You'll find Facebook pages and Twitter pages and Instagram pages supporting the whole movement. I know KD is keeping track of all that right now. He would probably be playing down the Berry Farms right now, but he's rehabbing to get back to play next season. You know what's crazy? He passed on playing on the national team last summer to avoid injury, just to get injured. Yeah. First month of the season.
That the Paul George thing had everybody a little leery. But my thing is, you're a basketball player, just play basketball. You all do what you always done. Injury happens, but if you're trying to dunk it, it's gonna come find you.
I mean, he broke. I mean, it's a terrible break. I watched it live, and it was. If you seen the guy from Louisville, the only difference between that is the fact that the bone actually came out. But watching Paul George just land and his whole shin do a 90-degree angle, you thought he would never play again.
I watched it live as well, and another one I watched live was the Sean Livingston one that happened years ago. And when you see it live, you kind of look, but you turn away. And with all the internet and instant replays now, you can't miss these things, man. And that was, you watch it and just pray for him.
Yeah. But he made a recovery, came back full strength. Actually, came back sooner than they anticipated. They expect him to miss the entire season. He came back in like March, I think about March, sometime right after the All-Star break. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing Paul George do what Paul George does, and Indiana be a contender, at least a respectable team again. But we'll see. I mean, maybe KD will rehab and be back to being KD, and he'll be doing what KD does right here in DC. But make sure you follow us on the YouTube page, CityHoops TV. Got a CityHoops TV fan page. You want to talk more DC basketball, whether it's pro hoops, college hoops, high school, street ball. If you know somebody over at the rec center that's just killing it, leave us a message, and we chit-chat with them and get them right here for all of the DMV to see. So on that note, I'm Tim Howard.
I'm Devon Dyson.
This has been CityHoops TV, your hometown hoops show.